Good morrow, my friends. It is I, Blue Bo. Welcome. Did you know, a long time ago, longer now than it seems, Bear had a very long tail. In fact, his tail was easily as long as my staff. Now, Bear loved his tail. It was soft and it was shiny, and he would lay it out on the path and make all the other animals compliment him on his beautiful tail before he'd let them go past. Now, the other animals, they didn't like that very much, of course, but there wasn't much they could do about it. He's Bear. He's the biggest and strongest in all the forest. Now, as winter comes along, Bear starts to get very hungry. Yes, it's time for Bear to sleep. And in order to sleep throughout winter, he has to eat a lot of food. But this time of year, all Bear can find is a few nuts, berries, the occasional grub. Nobody likes to eat grubs. What Bear really wanted was a fish. He hadn't had a fish since summertime. Now, as he's going down the path, he comes across Fox. Now, Fox has a huge pile of fish. Where'd you get those fish? I got them down by the pond, Bear, of course. The pond? The pond is frozen solid. How could you possibly? She quickly ate her last little bit of fish and said, "Come with me, Bear, and I'll show you." They went down to the pond and walked out on the ice, and there was a small hole that Fox had dug, and she'd been dipping her tail within the water in order to catch fish. You caught all those fish with your little tail? Aye, Bear. Then I will catch lots of fish with my big, beautiful tail. Perhaps, Bear. They went down a little further in order to find a new spot, and Bear began to dig, throwing ice up all over the place. And as he did so, Fox reminded Bear, "Just put the end of your tail within the water, Bear, no more." You see, that's what Bear had done. And that's why even to this day, the end of Fox's tail is white, because it had frozen. But Bear was stubborn, of course, and he said, "I want all the fish." And with that, he placed his entire tail within the water. Fox shrugged her shoulders. You can't argue with Bear, and she went back to her den. Now that night, it turned bitterly cold, and when Fox awoke the next morning, 2 feet of snow had fallen across the entire valley floor. Now she went down to the pond, assuming Bear had given up a long time ago, but when she got there, there was a very large pile of bear-shaped snow. Bear had fallen asleep. So she crept down to the edge of the pond, got up real close to Bear's face, right by his ear, and she yelled, "Bear!" And Bear jumped, and when he jumped, he said, "I've got a fish! I've got a fish!" And he yanked his tail out of the water. And when he yanked his tail, he heard a sickening crack. And all that came up was a tiny little nub of a tail. Bear's entire tail had frozen solid, and when he yanked on it, it broke clean off. Fox laughed. She thought it was funny. Bear deserved it, but Bear was sad. Bear loved his tail. Now it was gone. But as he sat there pondering, which is a difficult thing for a bear to do, he thought, "Tail? No tail. I'm still a bear. It doesn't matter what's on the outside as long as what's in here is Bear. That's all that matters." And that's how Bear lost his tail. Thank you for taking the time to listen. I hope you have wonderful travels.